Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is another best of one game. It's the round of 16 on Frost, and it's a pretty big one indeed. Representing Cascade Gaming over here in the top right-hand position, rather, of Frost as the red Terran player. It's going to be Cass. His opponent, spawning in the top left position as the blue Zerg player. Strictly speaking, I think I still owe this guy a Happy Meal at McDonald's. That's going to be a long story I need to explain. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Bly. Hashtag Bly on fire. So what we're going to do now is we're going to follow this game and potentially hop into the best of 3 series straight afterwards. This is the last round where they are best of ones, and there have been a lot of big names clashing with each other so far, it has to be said. Bly going for Dat Hatchery first. And Cass playing this very, very standard so far. We have a barracks with room for an add-on, by the way, next to the supply depot. The refinery is going to complete now, and no doubt we will be seeing some degree of reapage coming out of him very, very shortly indeed. Bly's first Overlord as well is going to be scouting in the correct direction, which is going to be extremely useful for him. He will get to see everything that Cass is doing inside the main base first off. And of course that's going to give Cass the information if Bly chooses to fly the Overlord straight into his vision, that Bly has in fact spawned in the top left position. So, horizontal spawns. Question chat, have you ever thought about doing a podcast type deal like Lag TV? I confess I have not, but it would be something I'm interested in the future. Certainly if that sort of thing ends up proving particularly popular, I'd have no problem hopping into that sort of thing. It'd be good fun. Oh, and I was correct that that player previously was a Croatian flag. Don't worry, guys. Snoot is currently not in a game. So we're sort of hopping into this best of one. And, okay, this is an important piece of information. Bly has spotted that Cass is in the top right and immediately retreats his Overlord, by the way. So that Cass doesn't immediately know that Bly is spawned in the top left. Potentially critical. Bly's basically waiting until such a time that it makes sense. For him to... Oh, never mind. Cass is going, hang on a second, is there an Overlord? There he is. So I think what Bly's doing is trying to delay the Overlord going into the base for long enough to make it look like it was his second Overlord. And if that happens, then Cass can't be sure that Bly hasn't spawned in the... Ooh, that was close. In the bottom right-hand position. Bly's going to have to run away with that Overlord all the way up there. And unfortunately, sending these Lings at this time really isn't a good idea, simply because the Marines from Cass, if they were looking to get a pot shot off on this Overlord, they were always going to be walking down the ramp at that time. Starport going down now for Cass. Got the reactor going down on the factory. That could very easily be to swap over with the Starport. We'll be keeping a keen eye on that. In the meantime, layer tech nearly done on the side of Bly. So we'll see how that goes. Pretty quiet in terms of tech so far. There's the Roach Warren going down. Ling still continuing to be a minor nuisance. It looks like a lone SCV was brought along with that army, but that's because we're ever so slowly starting to wall off the front of this base. Is this Ling going to be able to sneak through? Oh, it is. But it will see more of the Marines it encountered earlier, so nothing too extraordinary happening there. And a bunker should basically be able to seal the... Hang on a second! Oh my gosh! Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Nidus getting started by Bly there. So we have Roach, Ling, Nidus territory. Now, there's a small problem with that, in that there are 2 Marines here stopping just that from happening. So I actually think... well, as soon as I say that, they leave. That's kind of awkward. If those 2 Marines leaving allow this Overseer to win the game with a Nidus, that's going to be very awkward indeed. Everything from Cass... Oh no, it's getting a little bit too medevacs. Now would be a great time. Now would be a most excellent time. Anytime now, Bly. There's a Nidus. Oh, it's going to take a while, though. I think he's going to have to defend against a double drop first. Otherwise, this could end up being a bit of an anti-timing. This is actually really... Cass also sees the Overseer. Okay, so there's a Nidus coming in. Super duper quiet. And here's a drop coming into the main base. Oh, is that Widowmine going to... No, the Widowmine doesn't go down. Oh, and unfortunately, it targets a Ling that was stood next to all of the Marines. So the Widowmine did more harm than good here. And here we go. The Nidus is inside the main base. Oh, man, and all of these units are in transit right now. This could end up being a killer blow for Bly. This is one of those things that could have gone very, very heavily either way, depending on who got the first bit of engagement. This Liberator could end up doing wonders, though. The Queens basically have to go around it to try and kill it. Oh, and they're actually dying off in the meantime. I'm not so sure about that. There's a transfuse on one of the Queens. Is she going to go down anyway? She's not. But this one Liberator could end up being the savior here for Cass. They just need to go back into the Nidus right now. A lot of damage has been done. If you take a look at the workers kill tab, it is 9 versus 0. And there we go. Safely out of the base. The Overseer stays alive as well for potential future Nidus action. Now, 34 workers versus 38. There is the one Widow Mine inside the base still. Both sides on 2 bases. Bly's the only person to have killed workers so far this game. This Overseer is going to go down. That Nidus ended up being reasonably successful for Bly. But the question is where to from here. It's still 2 base versus 2 base. The supplies are 74 to 62 in favor of Cass right now. So that Liberator basically saved him from having Bly go all the way down into natural and have an SCV massacre. If he did that, Bly would have just won this game. Cass has held off. He lost some SCVs in the main, but he's able to keep producing them. He's got his 3rd base on the way now, and he's able to get back into this game. Now, the 3rd base isn't going to be down faster than Bly's 3rd. That's the advantage of having those workers killed off early on. But, this certainly makes it a game and a half. And now double Liberators are going to come in for Cass to try and mess stuff up as far as Bly is concerned. A Spore Crawler going down here to potentially take care of things. There are 2 Liberators, though. So the angles they can potentially cover are quite large. It looks away and goes, hang on a second, I've seen you. Right, we need to unburrow and stick that back down. Very quickly indeed. And picking off the larva is a reasonably good choice. A single shot goes off on the Liberator. Oh, we need to be careful against these Queens. And he will only get a single shot off there. So we need a couple of Spore Crawlers here, maybe, in the long run. 4 Queens is quite frustrating. We have a big skirmish in the middle of the map. Roach is trying to pick off Siege Tanks, but with Medevacs in tow, actually, Cass has a big advantage. And maybe Cass, if he's able to deny this 3rd base, he could swing the momentum back in his favor in this game very, very quickly indeed. They're meeting up with the 2 Liberators as well. Here come the Siege Tanks. I actually think this base is straight up going to be lost here. And at 87 supply versus 76, Bly invested quite a lot into that Nidus play, and if he had some sort of follow-up, maybe he should have been building an army follow-up to keep these guys at bay before putting down the 3rd base. I don't know. Hindsight is a wonderful tool, but right now, Cass is looking like he is retaking this game by the horns. Replacement 3rd base getting put up right now as well, but the 3rd CC has been down for Cass for a while now. And is this going to be a commissal engagement? Wow, one of those Liberators going down, one of the Siege Tanks going down as well, thanks to the Ravager shots. This could end up being the game-defining engagement if Cass continues to push forward. Is he going to lose the entire army and allow counterattack from Bly? Or is Bly going to collapse under the pressure from these Liberators and Siege Tanks? The Liberator goes down. There's only 1 Siege Tank left in the back. There are not that many Marines, actually, with this at the moment, and this could end up being really, really quite awkward for Bly. Here's another Nidus. He's going for it. Round 2 is coming in, and he's saying, right, I want to do something. I want to do a bit of damage now, because I think this is the entirety of your army. And as things currently stand, he might be right. Marines getting pulled into the main base. Is this Nidus going to go down as quickly as we hope? Well, actually, with the Siege Tank in the back as well, it's going to be very difficult, but the entirety of the army is coming through right now. SCVs being a human shield. A couple of Ravager shots, actually, would kill that off very nicely, and he could actually retreat back into the Nidus. Is that exactly what he's going to do? Oh, and the Marines eat an awful lot of Ravager shots, and this could be, once again, swinging back in favor of Bly, but here comes the 2nd Siege Tank. Here comes that medevac with Marines, and I think it's going to be just about enough to repel Bly from inside the main base. Cass takes heavy losses, up to 33 workers killed now this game, but he once again successfully repels Bly. Buildings covered in creep, but it doesn't matter. The battle might have been lost for a moment, but the war has definitely been won. 42 drones to 30 SCVs. The 3rd command center is up. The 3rd hatchery is once again up for Bly. Don't forget, because this has gone down, it's not that clear whether Bly is far ahead right now. The supplies are basically dead even. Cass is still comfortably in this game. He's taken out the Nidus a 2nd time. He was able to get his armies in position, and this is turning into an absolute humdinger of a best of 1, because this is still a best of 1, folks. Don't forget, we're not even into the best of 3 portion of the Go4 StarCraft II bracket yet. This is madness. And here comes a Siege Tank drop against Bly. Cass is not going down without a fight. And as things stand, it might not be going down at all. We'll see. Here's another Nidus network inside the main base. This time, Cass is all over it like a rash. There is no way in hell that Nidus is surviving more than a second or two. The Overseer trying to actually bait the aggro from the Marines, but they're having none of it. Nidus goes down literally 10 times faster than it was put up. And this Overseer, this MVP Overseer, is going to go ahead and get the heck out of dodge. In the meantime, this third base, once again for Bly, is getting put under very, very heavy fire. Now, if this goes down, Bly will have been without a third base for almost the entirety of this game. The main base is about to mine out. The natural expansion is way oversaturated. Bly needs that third base up and mining. Cass will have his third base up and mining very shortly, and that makes things very, very awkward for Bly, because the longer this game goes on, then the better it's going to be for Cass. He's got 1-1 upgrades on his Marines. 2-2 is about to complete. He's going to have concussive shell on those Marauders as well. He hasn't got that many Marauders with the army. Actually, has he got any on the field? He's got 50 Marines and 0 Marauders, but he's got concussive shell. That's the important point. And Tunneling Claws coming out for Bly. He's still continuing to try and do sneaky shenanigans. Whoa, 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 whoa. Pick those up. What are you doing? All right, there we go. And the Bly having to retreat. Cass actually having the bigger army right now. 92 supply versus 74. Not a position a Zerg is normally in. And because the third base hasn't basically been able to mine almost all game long, this could end up going Cass's way very, very quickly. Cass has the potential to snowball here. 133 to 124 supply in favor of Cass right now. Bly immediately forfeiting the third base in favor of this one. This has to stay mining now. If that goes down, it has to be curtains for Bly. And Cass pushing through with a very devastating army indeed. Now, Tunneling Claws, I believe, is about to finish. So this has the potential to be a very sneaky, unpleasant supplies for Cass. But we'll see if that ends up happening. Another knight is going down inside the main base. Has Cass noticed this? Yes, he's bringing a lot of forces back. And Bly's going for a head-on engagement. Is he going to be able to win this? All the siege tanks go down, but look at how much DPS is part of these Marines right now. Good Ravager shots, but that kills off most of the army. The knight is inside the main base, basically gets taken down. I think that might give Cass enough of an edge to try and close out this game. If this base goes down, I'm calling it in Cass's favor. Bly has played a tremendous game. It's been really back and forth, but he needs to defend this third base now. It is all or nothing. And here come the Stim Marines. No tanks to speak of. YOLO composition coming in from Cass right now. And he's wreaking havoc on these units. The third base looks like it's going to be rabbit food in a matter of seconds. And unfortunately, after such back and forth, huge amounts of battery consumption in this game from both players, it looks like Cass is about to put Bly into airplane mode, ladies and gentlemen. This game, he's almost 50 supply. In fact, doing math, yeah, he's 46 supply up. I wasn't too bad there. I'm still Asian, it's fine. But he's moving into the natural expansion now. This could end up being Bly's last stand. The Evo chamber going down is neither here nor there, but both of them going down means he's going to long-term be behind on upgrades. And 2-2 has just completed. Oh, a full medevac! Full medevac needs to run. Oh, good luck there. 2 hit points. Damn. Now Tunneling Claws. Is Bly going to really come back into this game with Tunneling Claws? I really want that to happen. There could be a massive Jaws moment that brings Bly back into this game, but right now, Cass has all the cards in his favor. Look at this. Oh, is he spotting something? Is he thinking about it? Well, he actually hasn't unloaded all of his medevacs for starters. That's a little bit awkward. Oh, man. Missile turret! YOLO! Oh, no longer so sneaky. And all of a sudden, the element of surprise is gone. You might as well tunnel again, mate. You just killed the missile turret. But then again, if you chase and there's a scan. If you chase and there's a scan. If you chase and there's a scan. If you... Oh, God. Lol. All together now. Lol. He has a massive... Well, it's not actually a drop. This is the rest of the army for Cass. But he's focused on dealing with these roaches right now. To be honest, the surprise factor is gone. And as a result, I actually don't think Bly is going to be able to comfortably come back from this. He needed a sneaky attack to kill an awful lot of workers. He has killed way more workers this game. 35 versus 14. But this is potentially the final engagement of the game. Here come Ravagers. They're trying to get some shots off. Unfortunately, though, these Marines are continuing to start a step forward. There really aren't that many of them, but there are enough to kill off this number of Ravagers. GG! And representing Cascade Gaming, Cass, ladies and gentlemen, takes the victory over Bly and moves on into the best of 3s in the round of 8.